Apocalypto is a 2006 historical epic horror film produced, co-written, and directed by Mel Gibson. The film features a cast of Native American and indigenous Mexican actors consisting of Rudy Youngblood, Raúl Trujillo, Mayra Cerbulo, Dalia Hernandez, Gerardo Terracina, Rodolfo Palacios, Bernardo Ruiz Juarez, Amal Rodrigo Mendoza, Ricardo Diaz Mendoza, and Israel Contreras. All of the indigenous people depicted in the film were Maya. Similar to Gibson's earlier film The Passion of the Christ, all dialogue is in a modern approximation of the ancient language of the setting. Here, the indigenous Yucatec Mayan language is spoken with subtitles, which sometimes refer to the language as Mayan. Principal photography took place in Mexico from November 21, 2005 and ended in July 2006. This was the last film Gibson directed until 2016's Hacksaw Ridge 10 years later. Set in Yucatan, Mexico, around the year 1502, Apocalypto portrays the hero's journey of a young man named Jaguar Pa, a late Mesoamerican hunter and his fellow tribesmen who are captured by an invading force. After the devastation of their village, they are brought on a perilous journey to a Mayan city for human sacrifice at a time when the Mayan civilization is in decline. The film was a box office success, grossing over $120 million worldwide, and received mostly positive reviews, with critics praising Gibson's direction, Dean Semler's cinematography, and the performance. The Hurt Locker is a 2008 American war thriller film directed by Kathryn Bigelow and written by Mark Boal. It stars Jeremy Renner, Anthony Mackie, Brian Garotti, Christian Camargo, Ralph Fiennes, David Morse, and Guy Pearce. The film follows an Iraq War explosive ordnance disposal team who are targeted by insurgents and shows their psychological reactions to the stress of combat. Boal drew on his experience during embedded access to write the screenplay. The Hurt Locker premiered at the 2008 Venice International Film Festival before it was released in the United States on June 26, 2009, by Summit Entertainment. The film earned acclaim from critics, who praised Bigelow's directing, Redknapp's performance, Boal's screenplay, editing, and action sequences. The film was nominated for 9 Academy Awards and won 6, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Original Screenplay. It was the first Best Picture winner to have been directed by a woman. The film grossed $49.2 million worldwide. In 2020, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. Sanborn and Eldridge consider James's maverick disposal methods and attitude reckless, raising tensions. When they are assigned to destroy explosives, James returns to the detonation site to pick up his gloves. Sanborn openly contemplates killing him by accidentally triggering the explosives, making Eldridge uncomfortable. Nothing is done, and tensions continue to increase. Returning to Camp Victory in their Humvee, the team encounters 5 armed men in traditional Arab garb and casual attire standing near a Ford Excursion, which has a flat tire. James's team has a tense encounter with their leader, who reveals they are private military contractors and British mercenaries. They have captured 2 prisoners featured on the most wanted Iraqi playing cards. The group comes under fire. When the prisoners attempt to escape in the confusion, the leader of the mercenaries shoots them, as they are valuable dead or alive. Enemy snipers kill 3 of the mercenaries, including their leader. Sanborn and James borrow a gun to dispatch 3 attackers, while Eldridge kills a 4th. During a raid on a warehouse, James discovers a body he believes is Beckham, in which a bomb has been surgically implanted. During the evacuation, Lieutenant Colonel John Cambridge, the camp psychiatrist and a friend of Eldridge, is killed in an explosion. Eldridge blames himself for his death. James breaks into an Iraqi professor's house, seeking revenge for Beckham, but his search reveals nothing. Called to a petrol tanker detonation, James decides to hunt for the insurgents responsible, guessing they are still nearby. Sanborn protests, but when James begins a pursuit, he and Eldridge reluctantly follow. After they split up, insurgents capture Eldridge. James and Sanborn rescue him, but one of James' rounds hits Eldridge in the leg. The following morning, James is approached by Beckham, alive and well, whom James ignores and walks by silently. Before being airlifted for surgery, Eldridge angrily blames James for his injury. James and Sanborn's unit is called to another mission in their last 2 days of their rotation. An innocent Iraqi civilian has had a bomb vest strapped to his chest. James tries to cut off the locks to remove the vest, but there are too many of them. He apologizes to the man and then abandons him. Knowing he is about to die, the man starts to pray, just as the bomb explodes and kills him. Sanborn is distraught by the man's death. He confesses to James he can no longer cope with the pressure and wants to return home and have a son. Jamie Ashen and his wife, Lisa, receive an anonymous gift of a ventriloquist doll called Billy. When Jamie goes out to pick up their takeout dinner, a figure attacks Lisa, who is pregnant, causing her to have a miscarriage and scream. Jamie returns home and finds her dead with her tongue cut out. After Jamie is released from custody by Detective Jim Lipton due to lack of evidence, he spots inside Billy's box a mysterious message about Mary Shaw, a deceased ventriloquist from his hometown, Ravens Fair. Returning to Ravens Fair, now old and run down, Jamie visits his estranged, wealthy and wheelchair-using father, Edward, and his much younger wife, Ella, for information regarding Mary Shaw. Dismissing them as superstitions, Jamie arranges for Lisa's funeral with the help of a local mortician named Henry Walker. Henry's senile wife, Marion, warns Jamie that Mary Shaw's spirit is dangerous and urges him to bury Billy. Jamie does so but is confronted by Detective Lipton, who followed Jamie and finds his actions suspicious. Henry explains to Jamie that Mary Shaw was a famous and popular ventriloquist who was publicly humiliated when a young boy named Michael rudely claimed that he could see her lips moving during one of her performances. Some weeks later, Michael disappeared and his family blamed it on Mary Shaw and lynched her. Mary's last wish was to have her body turned into a doll and buried with her 101 dolls, who she called her children. Henry, then still a child, saw Shaw, after she was turned into a dummy, rise up, but was spared thanks to his silence, because Mary takes her revenge by killing those who scream. Jamie finds out that Michael, who actually was murdered by Mary Shaw, was his great-uncle. As part of Mary's lynching, the Ashen family forced her to scream and permanently silenced her by cutting her tongue out. As such, she has since been seeking revenge against their entire bloodline and all those in Ravens Fair by killing them using the same method. Mary Shaw kills Henry Walker and Detective Lipton discovers that all of Mary Shaw's dolls have been dug up. He informs Jamie and is just about to arrest him, when Jamie receives a call from Henry, asking him to go to Shaw's old theater to prove his innocence. At the ruined theater, Jamie and Lipton discover 100 of the dolls in their massive display case, along with Michael's body, which had been turned into a marionette. Mary reveals to Jamie that she killed Lisa because, unbeknownst to him, she was pregnant with his child, thereby killing any potential newborn of the Ashen family. Jamie and Lipton burn the theater and all of Shaw's dolls, but Lipton falls and screams, sealing his fate. Back at his father's residence, Jamie is confronted by Mary, but repels her by throwing Billy into the fireplace. He learns, much to his horror, that his father actually died long ago. The current Edward is actually a doll converted from his corpse, controlled by Ella, who is the perfect doll that Mary Shaw created just before her death. Jamie screams in terror as Ella, possessed by Mary, kills him. The film ends with Jamie reciting a nursery rhyme about Shaw while a photo album with human puppets is shown: Lisa, Henry, Lipton, Edward, Ella, and Jamie himself. Mary closes the book, finally completing her revenge. Ian Stone is an average man. He loves ice hockey but lives for his girlfriend, Jenny Walker. Late one night while driving home from a painful loss on the ice, Ian thinks he sees a dead body near the railroad tracks. Investigating the grisly discovery, Ian is attacked by the corpse, forced onto the tracks and run over by a train. He wakes up in an office cubicle. He is older and living with a beautiful woman named Medea. Jenny is not his girlfriend, just a co-worker, and one of a number of apparently familiar faces. Ian meets a strange old man who tells him he is in danger. The old man tells him that he is being hunted by the Harvesters, a group of mind-controlling characters who cannot be killed and feed off human fear. He explains that every day, at different times and different places, the clocks stop and they come after him to kill him. The only problem, and Medea used to be his mate. Medea tries to force Ian to feed again and return to the fold, but Ian resists. Medea and the Harvesters attack once more, and she explains that his rebellion came after his first encounter with Jenny. So moved was he by the girl that he wished to live a mortal life with her. Before Medea can harm Jenny, however, a final change comes over Ian with the help of Gray, the old harvester who had helped him before. Apparently Ian found a sustenance that was far superior to fear or pain, and so did the old man, love. Making this connection to a human being changes the specific nature of a harvester, which allowed the old man, and now Ian, to kill the members of their kind. Gray had urged Ian to protect Jenny out of experience. Having lost his love to the Harvesters, he could only feed on fear again, and he spent what remained of his life slowly starving himself and trying to find love again. Gray implores Ian to feed from him and tap into those emotions of affection and kinship. Gray dies while restoring Ian. Ian regains his true power. His harvester self is finally born out of his human flesh, uniquely exuding goodness rather than malevolence. He now has the capacity to turn the tables on these creatures and to feed on their fear and to give life. He then rescues Jenny, who is being stalked by the clan. Ian creates a new life for himself and Jenny, in which he is a successful professional hockey player with her at his side. Jenny has no recollection of their harrowing adventure, but Ian, having realized his abilities, will begin to take the fight to the Harvesters.